Going to feature people. They boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another short form video. We're going to check in with another spicy media moment because over on Bill Maher's podcast, Club Random, he just hosted the liberal YouTube star, progressive YouTube star, Brian Tyler Cohen, who is the host of something called the No Lie podcast. But I did recently catch lying. He said that the Supreme Court case about conversion therapy was about shocking the gay out of people, but it's actually a case about talk therapy only. So he did spread that fake news to millions of people. But anyway, I digress. He was on Bill Maher's podcast, and the conversation of the left-wing extremism infecting the Democratic Party came up, and Brian Tyler Cohen seemed to think it really was no problem at all, whereas Bill Maher had a very different assessment, and it all came in the context of the fact that the next mayor of New York City is probably going to be a very radical left-wing socialist Marxist, defund the police type originally and for most of his career, Zohran Mamdani. Anyway, let's listen to the exchange they had on Club Random, the first part at least.
New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time.
So this was such an interesting moment to me because he's essentially saying, Brian Tyler Cohen is saying, well, it doesn't matter if we elect a literal Marxist extremist who's talked about abolishing private property, having government-run housing, seizing the means of production, constantly tweeting random quotes from straight-up Karl Marx texts. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have the power to actually do it as New York City mayor. You really, first off, he could do a lot as New York City mayor that would, I think, hurt the city and hurt its residents. Even just one of his signature proposals, like make the buses free because there's the vagrants assault bus drivers too frequently when they don't have the fare. So instead of locking them up, we'll just make the buses free and turn them into probably unusable homeless encampments that the actual public that pays taxes can't actually use. Anyway, his take here is essentially, oh, well, he couldn't enforce his total communist ideal, so it's no big deal. We don't need to worry about it. I really don't think Brian Tyler Cohen would ever take that stance about a really far-right politician. Do you? Let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty skeptical. And more importantly, I think is what Bill Maher says. It's about the message that it sends to the country about the future of the Democratic Party when somebody so breathtakingly radical could be one of their standard bearers and be selected in one of their star locations, New York City. And that, I think, is a boon to Republicans because I think part of the reason that MAGA and J.D. Vance and Trump rose and became mainstream and got so much support from different parts of the country you really wouldn't expect in terms of demographics and voters is because people were pushed into their arms by democratic insanity and by progressive cultural insanity in the 2020 era. And despite their many flaws, people saw JD and Trump as kind of a rejection of that. So, I mean, if you wanted to actually take them down, you would need to provide a normal, sane, moderate alternative in the Democratic Party. Zohran is not that, okay? He is most certainly not that. And Bill is, of course, speaking facts here, and Brian Tyler Cohen is in Delulu land, if you ask me. But let's keep listening.
It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela, just bad ideas. And again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's, Bernie is,
yeah.
Bernie is, I mean, he's not a capitalist,
No, he's not. And he's also not president.
He's not, but
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, no, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people, they boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, Nancy but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but
they make anybody into boogeyman.
It has.
I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really show it.
So I found this part of the clip really interesting because Brian Tyler Cohen, he's essentially saying, well, Republicans will boogeyman Democrats no matter what. They'll call them socialists, Marxists, communists, whatever. And then Bill's like, yeah, the difference is it's not true. Most people don't really believe that Nancy Pelosi or Hillary Clinton are communists. Do they want taxes, spending, regulations? Sure, but they're not literally communists. This Zoran guy was just a few years ago, well into his professional political career, tweeting out quotes from Karl Marx, talking about seizing the means of production, abolishing private property. Like, that's just a different stratosphere of crazy. And the attacks hit home much more when they're actually true than when they are hyperbole, when they are absurd. And even comparing him to Bernie isn't a good example, because it is true that Bernie is a socialist. And yeah, he is a very popular political figure, partly because I think he has never really wielded much power, just being a senator, your one vote here or there. He's never actually run anything. So people just hear him talk and hear him promise free stuff to everyone. And they don't actually ever have to live with the consequences of his policies, because most of them don't get implemented. But the difference there is that Bernie has always been an economic populist. He's always, been very big into the socialism stuff, but he hasn't been into the radical kind of identitarian extremism like Zoran. I mean, Zoran was just a few years ago saying abolish the police because they're anti-queer. He has doubled down and tripled down on every single woke, absurd, crazy thing. He's promised to make New York City a sanctuary for transgender taxpayer-funded surgeries, where people from all around the country can come to get them done. Like, that is just not something you will find in Bernie Sanders' political career. Sure, he has definitely gone along kind of quietly with some more radical social progressive stuff for sure, but he just doesn't have the absurd, almost farcical track record in history that someone like Zoran does. And I'm telling you, if the Democrats embrace and uplift a open Marxist who has all these insane ideas as the mayor of New York City, Bill is right. That is a massive boon to Republicans. I don't think it will work out well for New York City. And it's not a boogeyman at that point, which Brian Tyler Cohen doesn't seem to get. It can't be a boogeyman if it's actually true and real. What do you guys think? Personally, you know what I would really love? And nobody listens to me, and he's probably too scared to do it, but I would really love to see Zoran go on Bill Maher's show. I'm sure Bill would have him, but he probably won't do it, because at this point, I mean, why would he? From just from an ethical perspective of like, yeah, you should put yourself before the media as a politician. You should be accountable to the public, all that. Yeah, of course you should do it. But from a pure political strategy standpoint, like if I was advising Zoran, I would say, no more adversarial media. You're winning. You're going to win unless something changes. So just avoid any like possible missteps or controversies. A damage limitation mode between now and the election, which is, I just think, a few weeks away. So he won't do it, but boy, that would be an interesting interview and a spicy watch, I imagine. What do you guys think? I always like listening to Bill Maher. He's much more liberal and more democratic than I am, but I think he's honest, and I think he's sharp. And also I love the way that he'll get, these people, the Brian Tyler Cohens of the world, who normally inhabit kind of their own spaces, they think that he's on their side because he kind of is. So they'll like go into the lion's den with him, and then they don't realize that he's actually going to be tough on them and disagree with them and challenge them. And then they'll kind of fall apart like this, like what we just watched. And so like Brian Tyler Cohen won't come on my channel. He won't talk to me. I've reached out to him in the past, actually, but I would love that. but they fall for kind of the trap of Bill Maher thinking that he's one of them, because he kind of is, and then it usually doesn't go well for them. What do you guys think? What'd you think of this exchange? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, yada, yada, yeah, and we'll be back with more content real soon.